And welcome to this Local 4 Decision 2016 update. It is 10:54 p.m. and from the looks of it, we're in for a late one as the race for the next president may boil down to being in Michigan's hands after all of this.
It's amazing. Let's take a look at some of the latest numbers in the race for president and how it stacks up in Michigan. With 40% of the vote in so far, Donald Trump ahead with 49% to Hillary Clinton's 46%. And again, this is less than half of the precincts reporting. And so even though these are we're looking at real numbers here, the race is still really too close to call. But right now, Donald Trump appears to be leading in Michigan with 49% of the vote at this point.
Well, then let's again turn to our pollster, Richard Zuba, who is watching what's happening in the state of Michigan. Crazy that the whole country is waiting on Michigan right now, but also telling because both candidates spent their last day here. They seem to know what was going on.
They sure did, and boy, this is as close as it gets, and we're going to go old school.
Yeah. Tell me where we are here.
Well, you know, we talked yesterday about margins.
Right.
Margins were going to be important. We looked at Kent County so far, and last I saw, he had about a 23,000 vote margin, but the city of Grand Rapids was out yet. So what's interesting is when you look at the 2004 Kerry race, which was, you know, a 3.5% race in Michigan, he took a 50,000 vote margin out of Kent County. That visit could prove to be very important yesterday.
By Hillary Clinton.
By Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
But also, we talked about margins in Wayne.
Yep.
And she needs a 320,000 vote margin out of Wayne County. We don't know if she can get it or not because we're not sure of the turnout.
We don't know where that is yet, and we certainly haven't seen much of the Detroit vote yet. Carmen, back to you.
All right, and we know everyone's watching the presidential and the local races, but there are other things happening tonight in Metro Detroit. Coming up next at 11, a deadly accident on the University of Michigan campus, plus a costly surprise involving the new home of the Red Wings. And former Detroit City Council President Charles Pugh just hours away from learning his fate after pleading guilty to inappropriate sexual conduct with a child. And Ben's got a big change in your 4-zone forecast starting in just a couple of minutes. We will see you then. Good night.
You were hit by a
Decision 2016, a razor-thin race. The White House is still up for grabs, and right now, Michigan, the focus of political watchers all over the world, is too close to call.
Who would have thought? And looking at the nationwide popular vote, very close, but giving Donald Trump a slight lead, 50% to 47% in the popular vote. It's good to have you with us for Local 4 News at 11. We expected this might be a long night, and that's exactly what it's turning out to be.
And Michigan becoming the focal point of this election and could decide who becomes your next president. Let's check in on the electoral votes and see where they stand at this hour. Again, 270, of course, now famously needed to win, and Donald Trump is 197, 131 for Hillary Clinton. She's going to do well out west, and of course, those polls just started to close. We're in for the long haul. We've got you covered across Michigan and nationally.
Let's get to Rhonda Walker. She is in New York City. Maura McDonald is downtown with the Clinton campaign, but we begin with Kimberly Gill. She's in East Lansing with the Trump campaign. They have got to be very excited with where things stand right now.
Carmen, to say this crowd is lit would be an understatement. It started out kind of slow, but as the results started coming in, you know, for key states going toward Trump, this crowd just went ballistic. And just now, they just called Florida. Everybody started cheering. You'll see behind me a lot of smiles, a lot of hugs, a lot of toasts. Yeah, very, very excited here in East Lansing. And these folks believe that Trump will also win the state of Michigan. They're pretty much calling it a done deal. They say turnout here in the area was fantastic, and they believe that Trump will be the next president of the United States. They're really confident. Carmen and Devin.
Hi, Kimberly. Here's the situation right now. We are with the Michigan Democratic Party here at the MGM Grand, and this is not the night that they had anticipated, I'll tell you that much. They thought that perhaps they were going to pick up a congressional seat. They thought they could potentially flip the Michigan State House. That does not appear to be in the cards right now. And right now, Hillary Clinton is fighting for her life in this state, and it may very well end up deciding who is president of this country. I will tell you right now, it would appear that we do not have any Detroit numbers in right now, and I think it may be a long night waiting for for those numbers to come in. I will say I spoke to Mayor Mike Duggan. He confirms turnout is down in Detroit. What that turnout actually is and how down it is, well, that all remains to be seen. We are live at the MGM Grand, home of the Michigan Dems. I'm Mara McDonald. Back to you.
Yeah, Mara, and that is a critical issue you've just raised. Let's bring in our pollster, Richard Zuba, with the Glenn Gariff Group, and let's start with that. If the vote is down, vote totals are down in the city of Detroit, what's that mean?
Well, let's take a look at Wayne County. Right now, you've got Hillary Clinton with about more than 100,000 vote lead. She needs over 300,000 out of Wayne County. There's 50% out. She can still do it if the city of Detroit is mostly out yet.
And you were just telling us about what's going on in the west part of the state, where we're still waiting to see real numbers from Grand Rapids.
That's correct.
Not from the county, but from Grand Rapids itself.
Right. Look at Kent County right now. We've got a lead of about 23,000 votes in Kent County. Grand Rapids is out. He needs a bigger margin out of Kent County to pull this off, unless Wayne County didn't vote.
When you and I stood here yesterday and started looking at the path nationally, so far Donald Trump has been able to follow and carve up that path, especially with Florida and Ohio. But Michigan remains the key piece of all of that.
It absolutely does. Michigan was the linchpin, the final linchpin. He's moving up to Florida, North Carolina, Ohio. He needs Michigan. He needs Michigan.
If Hillary Clinton wins Michigan, he would still, I suppose he could still conceivably win. I guess he would have to win Nevada. He would have to win New Hampshire. Funny enough that New Hampshire is still out.
Exactly.
But it's getting to be a very serpentine kind of way for both candidates now. Are you surprised at where we are tonight?
I am surprised. They were right. The Trump campaign was right. Michigan was a toss-up, a true toss-up, and these are the numbers we're seeing tonight reflecting that. She has done very well in Oakland County. He's rolled through Macomb County. So let's take a look and see what kind of margins we get out of Wayne and Washtenaw.
Important, though, that you pointed out yesterday, it's seldom talked about, but there are an awful lot of Republican votes to be had in Wayne County as well. So as we're waiting for that totals to come out of Wayne County, they're not all Democratic votes.
Well, that's right. In fact, usually a Republican takes their most votes out of, well, more than Macomb, they take them out of Wayne County. So the question is, are they going to take their share out of Wayne County also? What's the margin?
Did the Democrats wait too long to get serious again about Michigan then? Debbie Dingell, you know, she had an email in the email dump that came out where she was imploring the DNC early on, back during the primary, that you weren't taking Michigan seriously and that it was kind of a foregone conclusion. Did we see that play out?
Well, we certainly saw the Clinton campaign caught flat-footed in the primary, and it was because they didn't go to West Michigan. I think everybody was lulled by Michigan because the numbers up until the FBI letter were a large lead here, and then they rapidly closed. And now the question is, could that visit she paid to Grand Rapids pay some dividends for her by the narrowest of margins?
One of the last visits of her campaign, and Donald Trump with the final visit of his campaign in Grand Rapids last night at about 1 o'clock in the morning. It was not an accident. Yeah. They knew where the race was going to be decided.
The entire nation may come down to Kent County and how they turn out.
And waiting for the Detroit vote, which we always do. Now the rest of the country gets to join in. Carmen, back to you.
Well, taking a look at the big picture, you can see that the states are starting to fill in on the U.S. map. Let's take a look. A lot of red out there, but there are some states that are still too close to call. We talked about Michigan. Moments ago, Clinton just picked up California, Hawaii, Oregon, Washington. Now, Trump is projected to win Idaho and just in North Carolina. But remember, the magic number of electoral votes to win is 270. And right now, Hillary Clinton is at 209 to Donald Trump's 179, I think it was. NBC News projects Clinton wins the state of New York, and that's where our Rhonda Walker is tonight. And let's go to her. Rhonda, how's the mood out there?
Well, the mood when New York was declared was quite excited. Here, a predominantly Democratic crowd, but certainly the campaign headquarters for Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are here, and the mood has changed a bit. There is tension, there is a little bit of excitement, but certainly this race isn't over, and the crowd out here isn't going anywhere. All night long, people at Democracy Plaza cheered and booed. As each state was declared, the decidedly pro-Hillary Clinton crowd watched the big monitors closely. The race closer than this crowd expected. Atif Lodi, who just moved here to New York from Sterling Heights, is anxious.
Smiling, but I'm nervous. I'm looking at the returns, a lot closer than I certainly expected.
It's going to be a longer night than many predicted.
Certainly, as a Republican, I'd love to take the state. So if we can take Michigan, that's a get. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, Michigan, like Pennsylvania, falls to type ultimately.
The map gets a little bit tighter here for the Democrats. And, you know, Michigan is, you know, I think is almost, you know, got a whole state. And it's close right now.
So it makes sense that the candidates were in Michigan the day before the election, and now we just have to wait and see how voters will decide what happens in Michigan. I'm live here at Democracy Plaza here in New York City, but I feel like I should be back home with you guys.
That's right, because here's where the story may begin and end. All right, thank you, Rhonda.
And not surprising that Michigan is still counting votes, because if you were with us earlier, we showed you this scene. This was 9:30 tonight, an hour and a half after this polling place had closed, and there were still some 200 people waiting. This is at a precinct in Novi. 90 minutes passed, so not all these folks even got to vote within that hour and a half. The last person, in fact, in line, we're told, had to wait until about 10:15.
But if you're in line at 8 o'clock,
as long as you're in line,
you can
exactly right. But obviously that means a later vote count going on as well.
All right, well, we're going to be here for the long haul. We're also looking at the local races that will have an impact for years to come. Let's start with the RTA.
Regional Transit Authority would completely overhaul public transportation in Metro Detroit. Again, this is a 4 county wide vote. It doesn't have to fail or pass in any one county. It's the aggregate total. Right now, with only about a third of the vote in, the no's are leading the way, 52% to 48%, though back to what Richard said, we're still waiting on the Wayne County and Detroit vote, which we would expect would be more of a yes vote on that topic. 2 competing proposals, the CBAs, a pretty complicated thing facing Detroit voters. Competing proposals requiring developers in Detroit to provide benefits to the neighborhood in which they are building or developing. Proposal A requires developers of projects costing $15 million or more to provide more benefits to the local area. Proposal A, the phrase that they were trying to get out was that A was for awful. That was the mayor's office. About 60% of the vote in right now, and you can see it is not passing. Proposal B would be a higher benchmark. It would require developers to set benefit agreements for projects that are at least $75 million, so much bigger projects, and that one right now is failing as well with that was passing with 60% of the vote in right now, about 4% margin.
We'll keep our eyes on that one, but right now let's take a look at the Macomb County Public Works Commissioner race with 27% of the vote in. Candace Miller is leading Anthony Morocco, 55% to 45%, and she's expected to do well in this race.
Crazy race as she leaves Congress and then gets into the most expensive county-wide race ever in the state of Michigan.
And our next, we're looking at the Detroit Community School Board. That was up for grabs. In fact, there were 63 candidates for just 7 seats. This is how it's turning out so far. The top 3, Georgia Lemons with 12% of the vote. Again, just 49% of the vote in at this time. Angelique Peterson Mayberry coming in second. Tawana Simpson with 9% of the vote so far. Those are the top 3. And rounding it off with Misha Stallworth at 9%. Lamar Lemons, former baseball player, with 8%. And Sonia Mays with 7%. Those are the top 6. And rounding that out in the 7th spot would be Patricia Johnson Singleton. But again, this is with less than half of the vote in. Those
would be your 7 if the vote were to end there. Moving back to the presidential race, let's take another look at how Michigan is shaping up right now. And now we have gotten past the halfway point. 52% of the vote is in. Donald Trump with a slim lead, 48% to 47%. Trump over Clinton, but a long way to go.
It really is. Our state's 16 electoral votes could be the deciding factor in this race to 270, which is needed to secure the White House. And right now, Trump is holding a lead over Clinton.
Click on Detroit.com, your election results headquarters, all of the national results, the statewide results in your community coming in tonight in real time, all there for you on our homepage. And of course, we will be monitoring the results all night long. So make your plan to wake up with Local 4 News starting at 4:30 a.m. if we're not still up for the overnight updates.
And he says that with a smile.
Boy, we're in for it tonight. All right, still ahead this evening, there is other news to follow. A real-life drama during a movie shoot. How a stunt went terribly wrong. There's a lot of people scratching their heads.
And the price tag on the Red Wings' new arena just went way up. You'll find out by how much coming up. Ben?
Temperatures going the other direction, Carmen. We'll start with clouds in the morning and keep numbers under 50 degrees. We'll see how long that lasts coming up.
All right, Ben, next, a deadly fall at the University of Michigan. Police are investigating. We'll be right back on Election Night 2016.
On the next live.
All right, let's get you caught up with where things stand now in this presidential race. Just before we went to break, we had found out that we do have more than half of the Michigan vote in now, but it is very, very close with 52% of the vote in, Donald Trump, 48% to 47% for Hillary Clinton, and the whole country is waiting for these numbers to change. It could all hinge on Michigan.
Because even with 52%, it's still too close to call right now. We still are waiting on Wayne County's numbers to come in, so we'll stay on top of it. And looking at the overall map of the United States, it's a sea of red. All of those states called for Trump.
In fact, we've had a change, however. They have just called California for Hillary Clinton, no real surprise there, and they've called North Carolina for Donald Trump. So there you see on the left side of the screen, this is where the race to 270 stands right now. 209 for Hillary Clinton, 188 for Donald Trump, but all of the gray pieces that you see there in the
yet to come in.
Yet to come in.
All right, this is a true nail biter, isn't it?
All right, other news tonight. An investigation is underway at the University of Michigan after a deadly fall on campus.
A teenager died after falling from the Thayer parking structure this afternoon. Now, it's unclear what caused him to fall, but investigators tell us it appears to be an accident. Neither the victim's name nor his exact age have been made public so far.
Let's give you an update tonight on the new Little Caesars Arena. Detroit city leaders say the cost to build the arena has jumped more than $100 million. The Downtown Development Authority has now revised its estimate, bringing it to nearly $733 million. Detroit officials say the hike in cost is not going to affect taxpayers. Of course, the Red Wings' new home, and perhaps the Pistons, we'll wait and see, set to open next fall.
And former Detroit City Council President Charles Pugh will learn his fate tomorrow at a sentencing hearing. Last month, Pugh pleaded guilty to third-degree criminal sexual conduct. The former city leader admitted to engaging in sexually inappropriate behavior with a 14-year-old boy back in 2003. Pugh is facing up to 15 years behind bars.
So much forecasting going on tonight. Let's turn it over to an expert, a guy who does this every day.
I'm the last person people want to hear from right now.
Well, we just want to know, is it raining out there?
It is in spots.
Okay.
And I'll be brief with the rest of this. Get back to the real story in a minute. But yeah, 4 Live radar picking up some showers that will be coming in behind this cold front. These are not going to last very long. They'll probably be out of here by 2, 3 o'clock this morning. And again, the amounts of moisture, not all that impressive out there as we speak. Current temperatures below 50 degrees. The winds are still noticeable. These are not going to die down all that much, and it's still going to be breezy tomorrow as well. So once we get these showers out of here, again, about halfway through the overnight period, we'll wake up to dry conditions in the morning with cloud cover. And then we'll see just a little bit of sunshine working in the afternoon. Not going to help us out a whole lot as far as temperatures go. We'll be cooler tomorrow than what we saw today. But there'll be some mornings going into this 7-day forecast that are really going to grab your attention. So overnight tonight, we'll drop down to 42 in the city, maybe some upper 30s outside of Detroit. 4-zone forecast is looking at high temperatures tomorrow. We'll barely hit 50 degrees in the metro zone. Same goes for areas that are south of Michigan Avenue in our south zone, right around 50 degrees. But it's all 40s north of there. West zone anywhere between 47 and 49 by tomorrow afternoon. And coolest spots in our north zone, 46 across Sanilac County, ranging to 48 down towards M59. So we're looking at high temperatures that will continue falling going into Veterans Day Friday, 47 degrees, and that's our coldest morning at 31 on Saturday, and we recover just a little bit as we head into Tuesday of next week. Devin and Carmen.
All right, thank you, Ben. Well, coming up new tonight, the surprising mistake parents are making with children in the car that's putting their lives at risk.
Also, a manhunt for a California shooter who opened fire near a polling location. And of course, we continue to follow the results as they pour in on this election night.
Today, I want to show you.
The vote counting continues tonight in Michigan. We've upped our total in a little bit, up to 53% of the vote in, but Michigan is still too close for us to call. All the analysts saying tonight that this election could come down to the numbers that you're watching accumulate right now. Donald Trump with a slight lead over Hillary Clinton in the state that both parties showed us meant so much on the last day of the campaign.
That's right, and with 53% of the votes, the electoral votes are what really matters. In fact, 270 is the magic number needed to secure victory. Right now, Hillary Clinton is at 209, Donald Trump at 188.
The orange votes that you're seeing, orange states that you're seeing there are too close to call, so there's still a lot of big electoral states out tonight. All right, we'll keep updating that. Other news this evening, police in California say a gunman is dead after he killed a man and injured two women at a polling place near Los Angeles. In the city of Azusa, when police arrived at the scene, they got into a gunfight with a gunman armed with an assault rifle. In the end, no officers were hurt. It is not yet clear whether police shot and killed the gunman or if he perhaps turned the gun on himself.
Now, two movie stuntmen who did not know how to swim drowned after jumping from a helicopter into a lake for a scene. It happened in India. A motorboat was supposed to rush in to help after the jump, but it broke down on the way. A criminal investigation into the movie director and producers is now underway because officials say they knew the stuntmen could not swim. And alarming news from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. They say that more children are not being properly restrained in cars.
2015 survey found that the percentage of 4 to 7-year-olds properly belted into booster seats fell to 44%. And of those properly restrained, 28.5% were just belted in with regular adult seat belts. 11.6%, about 12%, were not restrained at all. Not good.
Well, election numbers aren't the only things we're watching right now because hockey fans want to know how the Red Wings did. And Bernie's got that and all the sports. And I think the score might surprise you. Don't go away.
We can't look at this map enough. The critical states of Florida, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Georgia, all of those still too close to call. Oregon just went over for Hillary Clinton. Right now she leads 209 electoral votes to 188. 270 needed to win the White House. Michigan, still the linchpin.